The notion that the mainstream media uses climate change to oppress Christians is a narrative that has been perpetuated by some conservative and religious groups. This idea suggests that the media's coverage of climate change is somewhat biased against Christians, and that it is being used as a tool to suppress their beliefs and values. However, a closer examination of the issue reveals that this narrative is largely unfounded and misguided. Firstly, it is essential to acknowledge that climate change is a scientific fact, and not a partisan or religious issue. The overwhelming consensus among climate scientists is that human activities, particularly the emission of greenhouse gases, are causing the Earth's temperature to rise, leading to devastating consequences such as more frequent natural disasters, sea level rise, and droughts. The media's coverage of climate change is simply a reflection of this scientific reality, and not a ploy to target Christians. Moreover, the media's reporting on climate change often highlights the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable populations, including the poor, the elderly, and indigenous communities. These groups are often the most vulnerable to the effects of climate change, and it is the media's responsibility to shed light on their stories and struggles. This type of coverage is not anti-Christian, but rather a reflection of the Christian values of compassion, justice, and caring for the most vulnerable among us. In fact, many Christian denominations and organizations have been at the forefront of the climate change movement, recognizing the moral and spiritual imperative to protect God's creation. The Pope's encyclical on climate change, Laudato Si', is a powerful example of this, as it highlights the need for radical transformation of our relationship with the natural world. Similarly, organizations such as the Evangelical Environmental Network and the National Association of Evangelicals have been vocal about the need for climate action, and have worked to mobilize Christians to take action on this issue. Despite this, some conservative and religious groups have attempted to frame the climate change debate as a conflict between science and faith. This narrative is often perpetuated by media outlets that cater to a conservative audience, and it is used to whip up fear and opposition to climate change policies. However, this narrative is not only misleading, but it also undermines the important work that many Christians are doing to address the climate crisis. Furthermore, the idea that the media is using climate change to oppress Christians is often based on a flawed understanding of the relationship between Christianity and the environment. While some Christians may view environmentalism as a secular or pagan ideology, many others see it as a fundamental aspect of their faith. The Bible is filled with references to the importance of caring for creation, and many Christians believe that it is their moral duty to protect the natural world. In conclusion, the notion that the mainstream media uses climate change to oppress Christians is a baseless and misguided narrative. The media's coverage of climate change is simply a reflection of the scientific reality of the issue, and it is not a ploy to target Christians. In fact, many Christians are at the forefront of the climate change movement, recognizing the moral and spiritual imperative to protect God's creation. Rather than perpetuating a false narrative of oppression, we should be working together to address the climate crisis, and to promote a more just and sustainable world for all. By doing so, we can build a brighter future for generations to come and fulfill our moral obligation to care for the planet and all its inhabitants.